Okay, now, hey, Jamal, I want to pronounce your last name right because I don't want to get into a fight, you know what I mean, where I know I'll lose, you know what I mean? So please tell me your last name.
CHARLO.
Jamal CHARLO is on the... Okay, now, hey, Jamal, I want to pronounce your last name right because I don't want to get into a fight, you know what I mean, where I know I'll lose, you know what I mean? So please tell me your last name.
CHARLO.
Jamal CHARLO is on the...
All right. So who's ready for that big Manny Pacquiao upset? Who's ready for it? I can't believe you people don't see this. And I'm not talking about Pacquiao. Oscar De La Hoya and Saul Alvarez have been talking about each other for weeks. And I expect it to continue. I can't believe y'all aren't seeing this. They are going to fight Cinco de Mayo 2022. And guess what? They're all in on it. Oscar De La Hoya, the boxer, is in on it. Oscar De La Hoya, the promoter, is in on it. Saul Alvarez, the boxer, is in on it. Eddie Hearn, the promoter, is in on it. They're going to fight. You guys just don't know it yet. And I told a friend of mine, my buddy asked me, well, if they do, how will it play out? Oh, man, let me tell you how the whole thing will go. On fight night, Alvarez will be a little bit off that night. A little off. Okay? He'll win. But then he'll say, well, Oscar did a lot of old school veteran tricks that kind of threw him off a bit. And one of the cards will be like 115, 113. One will be 116, 112. And then they'll go over to Oscar and he'll say he thought he won the fight. He say, hey, I thought I won. And then months later, you'll hear Alvarez is back with Golden Boy, just like Teofimo Lopez and Top Rank. Well, here's the thing. I don't think they ever left each other. Okay, I think it's all been a ploy. See, when Richard Schaefer and Alan Heyman stole all of those Golden Boy fighters back in the day, Oscar kept a few of them, and some of them stayed. Some of them made a decision and said, I want to stay with Golden Boy. And he kept his cash cow, Saul Alvarez. So he has all these other fighters that mid-level, what have you. And then he had his cash cow, the one guy that kept Golden Boy afloat, right? So why would he give up his top moneymaker so easily? Remember, you just saw the press releases come out like, well, we just released him. We let him go. And then the ultimate slap in the face, he stayed fighting on DAZN. He did a one-off. No. He did, I think he was going to do 2 fights and then decide what to do after that and did a one-off or whatever it was. But why would he give his top moneymaker, why would he give him up so easily? I'll tell you why. Because he's still with him behind the scenes. So here's how to play out. Oscar will take a tune-up in his first fight. And then after he wins, he'll call out Jermell or Jamal Charlo, right? And then when he does that, Canelo, he'll kind of make a smart comment towards Oscar. And once that's done, the Charlo fight will be forgotten. The fight with Alvarez will be on. Trust me, it's going to happen. Let's move on. How about that referee in the SHAKUR Stevenson fight? Man, what a prick. Celestino Ruiz or Ruiz. It's almost always a bad sign when a referee steals the spotlight, right? Almost always a bad sign. I mean, the guy kept warning the fighters to stop stepping on each other's feet over and over and over and over and over. This, oh, watch the feet. Stop stepping on his feet. Like all night. Stopped action a couple of times. And look, it happens a lot with orthodox versus lefties. And he just made it the subplot all night. And fortunately, this wasn't a close fight. And so everybody's talking about that. But hidden underneath of all of this, he missed a knockdown by Shakur in the second round. And guess what, folks? He didn't step on the guy's feet or foot. But the ref called it a trip anyway. Later on in the fight, between the 80th and 90th warning about the feet, the referee missed another knockdown. I mean, the guy's so focused on watching the feet, he couldn't see when they didn't step on each other's feet and these knockdowns. So he could have been the difference in a close fight. And to me, this is a training issue. All right, I keep him away from championship fights and title eliminators until he gets himself together, because you don't want the referee to be a difference. And the sad part in all of this is Las Vegas has instant replay and didn't use it at all. But that's Las Vegas for you. I mean, they'll use it if something bad happens to Floyd Mayweather or Saul Alvarez. But let it be Lomachenko or Shakur Stevenson or Triple G, and they'll forget they have it available. Go figure. Let's move on. I was on a Zoom call with Jamal Charlo. Yes, you heard him at the beginning of this video. It's Charlo. And I still rank as the only one who cares about that. So he was on a Zoom call with his overmatched opponent, Juan Macias Montiel. Charlo tried to make it entertaining. So I'll post that video next, either today or tomorrow. I'll put that one up. And it was cool. It was cool. I mean, Brian Custer kind of like asked all the questions, the media. So Custer's my man too. I kick it with him every time I go to like a premiere card and I get a chance to chat with him. He always, hey, my man. Like, okay, at least you remember me from the previous times we talked. Custer's my guy, but when they allow him to kind of host the media calls, this dude takes he asks 10, 15 questions, and I know everybody who's waiting for their opportunity in the media, they're like, dude, you just asked 3 of my 5 questions that I had prepared to ask, and then somebody else asked their 4th out of the 5th, and then by the time the media member gets on, it's like, man, let me just ask something stupid and hope this guy doesn't get mad at me. So anyway, last thing, here's the question I have for you guys about June 19th. This upcoming Saturday. There are 5, count them, 5 fight cards on June 19th. The question is, which one or which ones are you going to watch? Here's the layout. Las Vegas on ESPN and ESPN Plus. We have a title fight. INOUE. Okay, taking on Michael Desmarinis. 12 rounds for INOUE's IBF and WBA World Bantamweight titles. We have another title fight. Michaela Mayer, versus Erica Farias. 10 rounds for Mayer's WBO Women's Junior Lightweight title. And a solid fight, just because we don't know where these guys are. Solid fight to open up the show. Adam Lopez versus Isaac Dogboe. 10 rounds, featherweights. I should say that'll probably be the ESPN portion. And then ESPN Plus will have a series of fights, which I don't have. I don't know yet. So make sure you check those out. That's not a bad 3 fights there. Also, in Miami, on Triller, pay-per-view, title fight, Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. 12 rounds for Lopez's WBO, WBA, and IBF lightweight titles. So wait a minute. I thought, okay, Lomachenko got bumped up to, what is that? What do they call it? Not super champion. Whatever he was. So, okay, then that's how Haney has the other one. Because it should be for the undisputed, but Haney has a piece of it. Lomachenko got bumped up to, what is that word they've been using? Not super champion. Anyway, I won't think of it. If I do, I'll shout it out. But okay, so WBO, WBA, and the great IBF lightweight titles. Also on that card, Charles Conwell versus Mark DeLuca. And now you remember Conwell used to fight on those premier cards, so looks like he's free to do what he wants to do. Teofimo's next few fights at least, will be as part of Top Rank ESPN. They announced that they bumped up his guarantees, and he seems to be happy with it. I don't think it has as much to do with the bump up as to what he realized he was getting. Because first he was saying, I'm getting $6 million for this fight. And it's like, no, you're getting 75% of the $6 million. And then when all things are considered, and because Top Rank is still the promoter, they probably got a piece of it too. And he's like, well, if they bump my stuff up just a little bit, then I'll probably clear more with Top Rank, based on whatever the terms are. Because now you eliminate some other factors. So he'll be back with the Bob Father after this one. Also a title fight. Now this is for undisputed now. Franchon Cruz Dezern had a cappuccino with her a couple of years ago at the MGM National Harbor. She takes on Ellen Cederroos. Now, if you remember, well, you know what? I'll break some of this stuff down. In another video, instead of doing it that way. But if you remember Aline Cederroos, she fought the Napoleon lady who was the favorite, Espinoza. I was at that card in Atlantic City at Ocean Resort, and that was on the undercard of, was that the Jaron Ennis fight, and then Clarissa Shields was the main event. So she pulled the upset. We're going to see how she does. And this is for Cruz Dezern's WBC and WBO women's super middleweight titles, and then Cederroos WBA and IBF women's super middleweight titles. So that's for all the marbles. Also on that card, you got Michael the Bounty Hunter versus Mike Wilson. You got Willie Monroe Jr., Juan D'Angel. You got the 7-foot heavyweight Zhang. And also Ray Robinson, the new Ray Robinson, is on that card. So from a name standpoint, Triller, that's good as far as the names are concerned. The matchups, we'll see how they play out. but it looks like some heavy favorites in most of these fights. The third card on June 19th comes live from Houston, Texas on Showtime. Title fight, Young Maul, Jamal Charlo versus, he defends his WBC middleweight title against Juan Macias Montiel. Montiel's got power. He's overmatched. And Charlo, when you watch the video, he'll kind of admit it. When you watch the Zoom call that I'll post after this fight. Also on the card is Angelo Leo taking on Aaron Alameda. So, we'll see that. We'll see that. The fourth card, June 19th, comes from Mexico. Pay-per-view, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus MMA guy, maybe the greatest of all time, Anderson Silva. 10 rounds, cruiserweights. Also on the card, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. takes on my main man, Hector Camacho Jr. in a 6-round middleweight exhibition. I kind of kicked it with Hector Camacho Jr. at the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame a couple of years back. Good guy. And then also Omar Chavez, if you can remember him. He takes on Ramon Alvarez, 10 rounds, middleweights. So that's they used to call him the businessman. Well, they call him, his nickname is the businessman, Omar Chavez. So, and he's been in there with some guys, man. I mean, he's fought Roberto Garcia. He fought Ramon Alvarez some years back, and he won by TKO. He fought Richard Gutierrez, who his record doesn't show it now, but who was a good contender at one point. And then he fought Ramon Alvarez again and lost a unanimous decision. He's been in there with Joaquim Alcine, Jorge Paez Jr. a couple times, and the list goes on. So I'm telling you something. I know these fighters, most of them are past it and what have you, but I expect this to be an entertaining card. And then finally, from El Paso, Texas, on DAZN, Jaime Munguia. Well, let's just put it this way. Jaime's getting up there too. Jaime is 36-0, man. And he's coming off a win over Toriano Johnson. And he was supposed to fight, who was Jaime? Jaime was supposed to fight Big Meech, the guy from the DMV, Demetrius Ballard. And for some reason, Ballard pulled out. So then he was supposed to fight Magic. He's supposed to fight Magic Siljecki, and something happened there with Siljecki. So now he's going to fight that dude that Golovkin fought, Zarameda, and we'll see what happens. Also on that card is a matchup I like. Blair Cobbs takes on Brad Solomon. So Gabriel Rosado is also on the card. And there's a women's title fight. Ibeth Zamora versus Marlon Esparza for Zamora's WBC women's flyweight title. And the flyweights are just like the men. I mean, they throw punches. 2-minute rounds, but they go at it. Just like the men flyweights. A lot of punches. So there you have it. El Paso, Texas, DAZN, Mexico, pay-per-view. Houston, Showtime. Triller from Miami, pay-per-view. And who did I miss? And then Las Vegas, ESPN and ESPN Plus. So, man, I don't know what to tell you. Get 3 TVs, use the overrated picture-in-picture, watch something on your computer and your phone and your television at the same time. Now, of course, all of these probably won't start at the same time, but they'll overlap, and we'll see. We'll see what's up. So, and then the following week, we got competing cards, too. We got from Las Vegas on ESPN Plus, we got Vasily Lomachenko versus Masayoshi Nakatani, who many people ringside thought beat Teofimo Lopez. I don't know about this fight. I just don't know about it. For Lomachenko, I mean, this is a tough. He's just a fighter. He doesn't care. So he said, I just want to see how well I do against this cat compared to how Teofimo did. A lot of people thought Teofimo lost watching it ringside, but they were scared to say it aloud because they don't want to lose their media credential. They don't want to say something bad and then maybe some key folks who were part of the promotion see it. And, well, you know how that goes. But I'm telling you, at least half of ringside kind of looked at each other and said, I think Teofimo might have lost that. I don't know how the fight looked on television. Maybe I'll go back and watch it. But also on that Golovkin card is Rob Brandt, former champion, trying to get back into the hunt. And the same night, I guess a majority of boxing fans will watch Mario Barrios defend his WBA, listen for this word, guys, regular, whatever that means, junior welterweight or super lightweight title against Gervonta Davis. Also, that's a Showtime pay-per-view, I'm sorry. Also, here's a good one. Erickson Lubin versus Jason Rosario in a WBC junior middleweight. Or super welterweight title eliminator. I like Lubin big in this fight. And it doesn't have anything to do with Rosario losing his last fight. I just think Lubin has looked he's looked almost better each fight since his one loss and his lone loss. And COVID kind of slowed it down, so you just don't know, but he was on a tear. The return of Julian Williams as he takes on Brian Mendoza. Julian Williams has a new trainer now. He's with Javon Sugar Hill. And Stewart, I'm sorry. Javon Sugar Hill Stewart. And Algenis Mendez is also on the card. So I'll try to catch as much as of both of these as I can. Now, hopefully both main events won't be on at the same time, but you never know. Anyway, make sure you follow these 5 cards to choose from, and leave your comments below, and we catch you on the next one.